Hello everybody, this is Rebekah Freedom, and this is episode number 33 of Her Not Seen, produced by John Beethan. And today, we're going to talk about it. We're going to get into the nitty gritty, the down and dirty. You know what I'm talking about, money. Money. You know, we never have enough, we have too much, it's not making us happy, it's making us temporarily happy. It's all a fucking video game. So I want to really drop in to the cycles we go through, and let's get into it. Raise your hand if you do this. You feel a little fat, disgusting, your clothes don't necessarily fit, but you don't want to buy new clothes because guess what? That costs money. You really want to be able to get in shape and go to the gym, but guess what? That costs money. You want a personal trainer, but guess what? That costs money. You want to be able to feel great in your skin and your body, but guess what? That costs money. And plus the thing is, you don't really have the discipline to be able to have the money that you want because you're too busy being lazy and watching Netflix. Raise your hand. Anybody in the crowd? I am one of you. I am one of you. Because listen, here's the thing about being an entrepreneur. It's not just this easy breezy step-by-step process where you just find the formula or everybody would do it. And in fact, there is sort of a little bit of a formula out there. The fact of the matter is you probably should have a foundation before you go into the creation of your own business. And that looks like a strategy. But that, my friend, takes money. Am I speaking too fast for you, or are you understanding me? Are you following along with this melody, this harmony of money, this thing that we have constructed to be able to live in the world and to be able to communicate through and with, because we don't really want to have real relationships, so it's much easier to slap a number on it and to make it all about business. So let's get to business. Six-figure coaches out there, raise your hand. I know you got programs. I know you do. You want to be able to sell people on what you got so they have the formula so they can create something for themselves. But let's be honest, most of us are lazy fucks. Most of us are. Like, the strategy that you have is something that we feel like we got to force it, make it happen. It's going to come quick. But there's this other thing on the background called destiny. Destiny on stage number 3. That's right, girls. If you really want to make money, you get naked and you start twirling around a pole. Let's be honest, it's the oldest profession out there. And for most of us that don't want to go ahead and get on stage, get naked, and flaunt what we've not got, or we don't want to be plastic little mannequins shoving balloons in our tits, we have to be able to wake up to do a 9 to 5 or create something else, bake some cupcakes, run a business, look good doing it. And listen, there's all shapes and forms and sizes and bank accounts. There's all shapes, forms, and sizes of bank accounts. Did you hear me? There are all shapes, forms, and sizes of bank accounts. And you know, ladies, size matters. Oh, yeah. When it comes to money, it's one of the number one reasons that we select a mate. Either they're poor and we want to fix them and we will spend all our time trying until I drain my bank account. Yeah, I've been there. I know. Or we pick somebody because our grandmothers told us, you know what? Marry rich. You're going to only fall in love with the guy that you like 50% of the time anyways, so you might as well get some benefit out of it. Some version of it. So money is this game that we're all playing with each other. There's entities called banks with credit cards that are deciding, hey, you know what? I feel good about taking that money. I'm going to go ahead and up interest rates, lower interest rates, play this game. It's all digital. It's all make-believe. But the thing that is not make-believe is the energy of who you be. Ba-da-ba-ba, I'm loving it. I don't know. We're going to go ahead and rep Mickey D's right now because we all want to supersize it. We want to downsize our waists and supersize our wallets. So what is the formula, my friend? What is it? It's this. Know thyself. You, over the years, 5 years of being an entrepreneur, I've been able to tolerate the waves of being $2,000 in debt, $5,000 in debt, and then boom, back up, making $10,000 one month, only to pay off my past credit cards and then be hustling back in it. And of course, they tell you in the programs, don't ride the waves. You want to be able to make that consistent income. But I'm going to tell you something. Consistent income is a complete misnomer. Granted, there is the middle class that makes a certain amount each paycheck, but you're locked into a system. You are harnessed for your energy in that moment, and maybe you get a retirement out of it. Praise God, hallelujah. Hopefully that's going to happen to you. Or maybe you get to draw on Social Security because you work just long enough to earn enough to get you into, I don't know, maybe age 70. But freaking 70 to 80 is looking bleak, my friends, because you didn't learn the language of money. And let me just be really honest and truthful with you that I don't really have that language down myself, because I like pretty things and I think that I should be able to afford nice things because I live in a nice environment in California. But you have to understand that for what most of us pay for rent, I personally pay $1,500 a month for rent in a single apartment by myself. What most of us pay for rent is what somebody's income is in a third world country for the entire year. And yet we scrape by and survive. So let's put all of this in perspective. Where are you in your life right now? What's going on with your bank account? This is the exercise. Where are you in your life right now? What is going on in your bank account? Go ahead and get it out. Get it out. Bring it up. Look on it. Gaze upon the landscape of your financial future. Be set free by the renewing of your mind. There's so much money available to you. It's just a matter of what you're willing to do with your time, because time is money. This is the magic formula. Time is money. If you spend a lot of your time being entertained, going for entertainment purposes, 9 times out of 10, unless that's your job and the genre of which you're working, you're not spending your time making money. Time is spending you. You're being spent. You are being acquisitioned by the entertainment industry or forces. And they're not evil. They're not bad. They need jobs too. It's a beautiful thing to be a script writer, a screenplay, a creator, an author, a comedian, an actress. Is a wonderful thing to be able to be those things and to release levity out into the world, or to be able to catalog people's lives in such a powerful way. Shout out to Meryl Streep. The point being that we all have a calling. Now here's the real kicker. Is over the course of your lifetime, your calling is going to get muddled up in different distractions. I personally am struggling with 10 pounds right now, but at least it's not 100, but 10 pounds is something that is representative of my money issues, because I would like very much to lose that weight and to be able to afford a personal chef, personal trainer, stylist, shopper, to be able to help me with that transformative process. And of course, the reason that we idolize stars as they age is they stay beautiful and young because they have access to stylists, personal chefs, personal trainers, and they're able to invest their time into those things as well as their craft, which is actually very much part of their craft, because you are what you look like when you are in Hollywood. You are selling yourself. Now, for the rest of us in the service industry, massage therapists, Reiki people, therapists, financial advisors, the way we look matters, but it's not necessarily the beginning precedent, unless, of course, you're a fitness trainer. You want to be fit. That being said, I've seen some really old-ass frumpy fitness trainers that people love working with. So personality does go a long way. I'm not rambling. There is a point. Hold on to your dollar bills. Flip your pennies. Make a wish. The point is that everything folds into everything, and money is the place where we see where we're hiding our pain, or where we're not willing to have conversations with ourselves and get honest and truthful. If we're struggling with debt, like I do, it's because I'm unwilling to go into minutia and spending my time doing accounting and really having a sense of like where my money is coming in, how it's going out, what I'm spending it on, what my habits are. So ultimately, when you have to deal with money, the first thing it's going to make you do is confront your habits, both the good ones and the bad ones. if you have a lot of money, chances are that you have a strong work ethic. You get up, you go do the job. If you're hired by somebody and you're a higher up in a position, you have to be forward thinking, and therefore you have to continue to be pressing your edges, learning, going to seminars. And ultimately, it comes down to our rituals and our habits. So I want to invite you to investigate your habits. This is really fucking uncomfortable. This is so uncomfortable. And trust me, you won't do it by yourself. It's just not going to happen. So if you have somebody in your family that's really good with money, or they're good at accounting, I encourage you to humble yourself and reach out to them and have them help you, at least have a conversation and get you into some good habits, or get you some systems like Quickbooks, which you can use score.org, SCORE.org, which is a small business organization that teaches you how to use QuickBooks. You can also use YouTube to learn how to use QuickBooks, or just go through a program, which I really recommend, just, doing a quick program on QuickBooks to be able to track your money. There are several different apps out in the world that you can track your money on, but if you're bad at tracking your money, the last thing you want to do is track your money. You're just going to want to get it and spend it. So here's the thing. If you're in one of those residual jobs where the 1st and the 15th, or once a month or whatever, your paycheck comes in, the first and foremost thing you need to do with money is called the profit and loss. This is super simple, and you can do it in your own creative way. Scratch it down in a journal if you don't like spreadsheets, which I totally don't. But basically, you need to know what your income is. And let's say your income is around $4,000 a month, which is generous for some people, but we'll just be playing with a little bit lower middle range. So you got $4K a month. If you're living by yourself, chances are, if you have a mortgage, it's going to be around $1,500 a month to $2,000 a month. So that means about 50% of your income is going to just paying your rent. And sometimes it can be upwards of 70% of your income if you're in a fluctuating sort of income situation. If you're like a salesperson on commission, or if you're an entrepreneur who is, early in their business. And early in your business as an entrepreneur is really within the first 3 years, upwards of 5 years. But if you stay in the business past the 5-year mark, you start to gain all the momentum from the platform you've built to be able to really rock it. So just keep going. So anyway, if you're in the fluctuating income bracket, that the percentage of what you're spending on your rent is going to change. So the first and foremost, of course, is making sure that rent is paid, that you're in a situation where you can afford your overhead of living, like a place to live, utilities, rent, and phone. These are the base priorities. And a lot of people can't do that, so they move back in with their parents, or they move back in with a loved one, or they're in a roommate situation. So if you're living by yourself and you can't really make it happen with rent, then you got to look at a different living situation so that you can kind of get your bills caught up. Now, here's the other thing. A lot of people not only have to deal with that, but they also have to deal with consistent loan payments, whether it's car payments or educational loans. So you're looking inwards around $300 to $500 a month average. This is low end for people. Of course, there's people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're not going to talk about that particular group because that's a different conversation around money. So long story short, profit loss is simple. You've heard it before. You need to sit down and you really need to write out the recurring expenses you have every month. And your cell phone bill should be variable of maybe $20 every month. It should be about the same. Your rent should be about the same. Your food expenses should be about the same. That's something I really encourage you to track. So if you're going to the grocery store, save your receipts so you understand how much you're spending for groceries. If you're eating out, also save your receipts so you understand how much you're spending when you're eating out. Like, your intake of food is going to be really important, and you're going to start to be able to see areas where you might be able to change your eating habits, which then results in a healthier lifestyle overall. Again, money totally bleeds into body, and your body is representative of how you spend your money. They are in tandem, and they work in concert with each other. So your loss, so we've been talking about your loss. We've been talking about the expenses that you have going out every month, and then the income you have coming in. Now, here is the thing. If you're locked into a 40-hour work week, or if you're a real estate person, you're locked into a 90-hour work week. If you are locked into a particular form of making your income, know that because of the internet, there are several other ways to make residual income. And that's something that I want to really offer as an opportunity, a possibility to you. If you haven't really thought about it, you think about, what are other ways I can create residual income? Maybe you have an Etsy store and you just sell a product. Maybe you write a couple short stories and you get them up on Amazon. Maybe you have a podcast that you monetize. There's so many different ways that you can just make, or you work on Fiverr or something like that. There's a lot of different ways that you can make residual income, even if it's just a couple dollars a month, a couple $100 more a month. So I'm not going to offer you all the possibilities on that, except to say, go ahead and Google ways to make a residual income and see what else is possible. Of course, there's several multi-level marketing companies that you can plug into, but it is like buying a business when you do that. So if you're working full-time and you want to make extra money, you could get into something like Young Living Oils or doTERRA, and there's lots of groups, but you have to be a person who likes to go to parties and things like that. The long and short of it is, there's an endless amount of ways that money can come to you if you're willing to invest in the education of how to open yourself to that. So what I want to say is, no matter where you are financially, there's always an opportunity to excel and to raise yourself. Now, it is also true that time is money, and the second law of money that we're going to cover is that how you spend your time, that knowledge is power, and that educating yourself may mean that you have to spend money to make money. So that's the second law, spending money to make money. Now, this is really true when you're getting your business started. You have to spend money to maybe make a website, maybe to make business cards, definitely business cards at the very lowest. But I just want to invite people into a new paradigm of thinking, which is the old paradigm of thinking, is that you actually don't need a website to make money. You don't need to waste I've put like $5,000 or more into a website, and it's great to have, and a lot of people search you that way. But the ultimate way that people make money is word of mouth. So it's tied, it doesn't matter how much technology there is, the conversations you have and the value you offer people in person is going to be the real money maker. The kicker is the internet is the place where you can advertise, but it's a lot of noise. So I encourage you to have more and more conversations, and just don't waste your time on a website. Go out and network with people. And you can use the internet to find those listservs of networking after hours, or I forget all, BNI is another one. There's lots and lots of different things that you can do to be able to build your brand out. And ultimately, so here we are. We're talking about money. We're talking about the basics of things. And, normally in this podcast, I'm dealing with love, relationships, sex, and different things like that. Well, be assured that money affects those things as well. It's the number one reason people get divorces is because of financial strain, or differences in income, resentment over someone being a breadwinner versus someone being the one who's, baking the bread, I guess you could say, making the bread, taking the bread, spending the bread, toasting the bread, whatever. So one of the things that I know to be true is you can't do it by yourself. Like, if there's an area, you're not going to be good at everything. It's just not going to happen. So money is really a place where you need to step back, examine your habits. Like we said earlier, it's going to make you look at yourself in the mirror and really say, okay, in the Bible it says, where a man's heart is, his treasure goes, essentially. I'm paraphrasing. I'll look up the right verse. But essentially, the things that you value is what you're going to spend your money and your time on. And your money and your time is going to be really based on your beliefs. And there are things that are beyond your control that you can't, like if you have a car that breaks down, and you're not prepared for that, then you kind of have to finagle the way that you finagle. And a lot of us are making ends meet using credit cards and so on and so forth. So the perspective I want to offer you is that money is an energy. It is not like this tiny little resource where you can only have so much and this is just your piece of the pie and, there's somebody else who's richer than you. Most of the people who are financially sound and who are doing really well have come from a lineage of people that are rich, first generation millionaires and billionaires, people who are able to do that in their lifetime. It's a process. Like very rarely do you see somebody take less than 10 years to be able to make their fortune. Brian Tracy was still broke, and he's a public speaker and a motivational speaker, was still broke at age 35. It basically took him till around 55 before he was making his millions, and really getting the momentum. And of course, there are the Charlotte Churches, she's the young singer who went on the game show with Howie Mandel. I don't know. I can't remember the name of it. And, at age like 11, she was already singing and she had a career. So there's something to be said about destiny, about when and how money comes to you. And you have your responsibility is to figure out, well, what do I want to educate myself in? Because sometimes people choose careers that are not lucrative, but that they love. They would rather just be a starving artist making their creations and holding out hope that that the world loves it, or just to make them for the sake of making them, than necessarily worrying about their bank account. And we call those the wild and free spirits. So again, today, I just want to say 3 things. Let's bullet point today's conversation. Money is energy. Money will make you look at your habits. Money is where we hide our pain. Money is a form of communication. Sometimes you have to spend money to make money. And of course, the number 1 law is time is money. So I invite you in this moment, if you're stressed, if you're struggling about money, that you do a couple different things to turn it around. The first is you take a breath and you start to do your accounting. You take a breath, you take time and responsibility to sit down, look at your bank account, know what your profit loss is, what's coming in, what's going out, and start to envision different ways you can create residual income for yourself, whether a multi-level marketing system or a digital program, something like that. That's why we see the Age of Life coaches, so many different digital programs going up. Or if you need further education, just know that wherever you are is not where you're going to stay. You can always graduate to the next level and move forward. The other thing is, if you're stressed out about money, if it's really getting you down, just know that you're not a bad person if you don't have money. We all start where we start in life, and we try to build ourselves up and grow from that place. So wherever you are, just look around you. If you're living with your family, if you're somehow listening to this and you're in a shelter, know that you don't have to stay there, that you can get yourself clean and sober, that you can get yourself educated, that there are different jobs available for you. I love to use Indeed.com to find different employment things. There's temp agencies. There's a lot of things working for you and on your side, especially if you live in America. So take advantage of the resources that are around you and know that it's not about the resources you have. It's about being resourceful. It's about how you acquire and apply those resources in your life that really makes a difference. Because sometimes you're going to be up and sometimes you're going to be down. I've had several jobs where I was paying my bills, but I was paying my bills. It wasn't like I was, putting money in a savings. And I've heard a lot of people say they've been treading water for years, but they've never been able to float. But just know that most people start floating in and around their 40s. Like, There is a timeline to things. I would also say that, if you are struggling with money, look at what you're eating. Look at what you're putting in your body. Are you dumping a lot of caffeine in your body, a lot of sugar, a lot of those things? Because that will make your brain sluggish and less imaginative. I really recommend the Whole30 as an eating plan. If it works with your blood type, I also recommend eating for your blood type. So know that money and your health go hand in hand with each other. And sometimes when you're poor, you just eat what you can eat. And you have purple drink, which is the color purple, water and sugar. And you just do what you can do to get by and survive. So I would say I invite you in this moment to not be hard on yourself, to not think that you're a bad person because you don't have money, and not to think of people who have money as better people. They just have different opportunities, a different destiny, and they've spent their time differently. And a lot of people that have that level of money are in jobs that maybe are not their heart song. So you have to consider that the monetary system of which we are all operating and communicating through doesn't necessarily echo what our hearts want us to do. So I really appreciate you listening to these podcasts. And again, I hope this was just a helpful little reminder that wherever you are financially, it's not where you're going to stay, that tomorrow is a new day with new visions, new ideas, and new opportunities. Continue to network and make connections through conversation, and you'll be able to start to feel the impact. And when you start to feel the impact and you're able to give value, you're going to receive value. That's the thing I would tell you, is if you can give value, be of value, whether volunteering and making no money or just eking by, it's going to come back to you definitely in a way where you're able to flourish and support yourself. So never ever think less of yourself because of your bank account. Okay? Never ever think more of yourself because of your bank account. You just have different mobility, but at the end of the day, we all need these three things. This is the core of our worth and our value, is to be heard, to be really heard, to be seen, and to be valued. Know that I love you so much. This is Rebekah Freedom. If you're struggling with your finances, if you're struggling with money, if you want to be able to know what the next step is in your business, your career, your life, and you want direction, that is exactly what I'm here for. I've offered programs in 3, 6, and 11 month increments to be able to let you really plug in a way where you get the education that you need, the university style education that you need to know who you are and what you're doing here and what to do about it, to be able to tap into the core of what lights you up from the inside out, and to be able to create with ease because you have learned to be receptive to your destiny. If this is something that you want, if you want to be able to struggle less and to be able to be more aware and acute and attuned to when destiny is calling, and we're able to stand up to the struggles and to manage your blind spots. If that's something you're looking for, that's exactly what I offer. So go to RebekahFreedom.com, REBEKAH freedom.com, and let's plug in together in a way that's going to make sense for you financially, emotionally, and spiritually. Thank you again for listening to Heard Not Seen. It's been my pleasure. I hope all of this helped, and I wish you the very best in finding that treasure inside of you. Bye. Mwah.